jolly good.
Hello, boys and girls. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Clayton Zucker. I'm just going to quickly talk about a film that I've just watched quite recently on Prime. It's called Fairytale, a true story. It's a late 90s family film. I think it was released in 1997 or 1998. I always get the two mixed up. I'm pretty sure it's 1998. No, sorry, it's not 1997. Oh, I guess I was wrong then. Just looked it up on IMDb, but apparently it came out in 1998. Anyway, so this is the feature film that's based on, well, loosely based on the story of the Cottonleaf Fairies, where the story is about these two girls, Elsie and Frances, who go into their back garden and take some photographs of some fairies. And there are people out there thinking that either they are real or not. It's a very debatable choice. I've never seen the film before. I didn't see it when it came out because I wasn't even born then. I've heard of it. I've seen the trailer many times during my VHS opening watches, and it just so happened to be on Prime, amongst other things as well. So I gave it a watch, and yeah, here we go. This is a film that I wish was better. And all I can say is right now, I think the acting in the film is actually really well done. Obviously, you got a recognisable cast. You got Bill Nye, you got Harvey Keitel, you got Peter O'Toole, the late Peter O'Toole, who you may know as Anton Ego from Ratatouille. You've also got the late Bob Peck as well, who plays as the father's boss, the father Arthur Wright, played by Paul McGann as well. You've also got Mel Gibson as well, who plays a short role as the father, which is a coincidence. This is actually distributed by Icon International Entertainment. I don't know if it's made by them. I know it's distributed by them, but I don't know if it's their property. Harvey Keitel, who I think is a very strange choice, actually does a really good job here. I thought he was very delightful and fun, and certainly has meaning to it. Bill Nye is amazing as always, one of my favourite actors. Peter O'Toole is actually really fantastic here. He plays his role very smooth and very quite charming. Florence Hove as Elsie is really good, and Elizabeth Earle as Frances is really good. Both of them together are actually really well. They're really well acted. I know they were quite young when they did the film, but they're really good. Some of the best child acting I've seen in quite some time. And the characters are, you're supposed to believe them and supposed to relate to them in a way, because they obviously there's a cliche of losing a parent. However, in this case, in the context of this film, the parent is actually somewhat connected to what Frances and Elsie are doing with the fairies. And I'll give the film even more credit, is that I'm glad they don't focus too much on what the fairies are up to, and when they do, it feels very lost and confusing in a way. If this did actually happen, which I highly doubt, the fairies wouldn't just wander around this local village in England. If the film mostly focused on these fairies, this would feel like a very too safe family film. But to this film's credit, it's actually a rather mature, slow moving and calm film. It really takes its time when you want more answers to this film, and to say it's accurate to what happened, I cannot say. Um, also, I've watched this film on Prime. I was expecting it to be in quite lower quality, because this is a rather old film, but it looks quite nice. This is by I forgot the company's name. This is gonna bother me a little bit. I think Media something Media, and they restored it in good old quality HD 4K. Because when you look at it, it doesn't look like a film from 1998. It looks like a film from 2010. It doesn't look old. It looks so good. Speaking of which, the film is beautiful. It's such a gorgeous looking film. It's well shot. The CGI at times and the green screen on the fairies and the costumes does look good. I do like how they kind of don't make a big deal of if the fairies look real or how they look, in a way. That's quite a cool detail there. I like the score of the film. The score's quite nice. And there are a couple of emotional scenes which do work in the context of the film. And the characters and the acting play it so real and so down to earth that it actually feels like they're being quite genuine. However, despite all this, the thing that does suffer with this film, that stops it from being great, is that it could have been longer. I know it's like an hour and 36 minutes, but it could have been maybe 10 minutes longer. It's not exactly boredom or anything. It's just that things don't seem to be all that answered in that running time, really. The ending, although it feels odd, felt kind of rushed, really. And I won't give away what happens, even though you do kind of know what happens in a way. It just felt very short and rushed, that's all. And the sequence of events where we see Harry Hondu, who's played by Harvey Keitel, does some tricks. And the thing that kind of puzzles me is that, he's a magician. He's not allowed to reveal how he does it, because if he did, and I think he said something like it'll disappoint the audience, so it's best to leave it to yourself and leave it as a surprise in a way, I suppose. Which is quite understandable, but also kind of cheating your way from magic. I don't really know how it works, but there is sort of a theme of hope, and just trying to do what's right, and while keeping it safe too. Like, the dad's kind of pessimistic, and while the mum, I think Polly, right? And I think she's played by Phoebe Nichols. She's more the optimism who wants to believe the girls that fairies are real, but she might have some second thoughts. But yeah, I do like the theme. I do like how it takes itself very nice and slow. And the film does take its time. I'll give it that. It does take its time very nicely. But the thing is, it's just that the plot is very nice. It's very nicely executed, but a bit too predictable and a bit too slow. It felt a bit like an Oscar film at times, I'll be very honest. This didn't get nominated, obviously. I don't think it was that big of a hit. I think it only took around $14 million. So I think it's safe to say the film's kind of a bomb, in a way. But the thing that does keep the story at nice pace is that it has good themes, and you do feel for these two girls, and they are really well performed, well acted, and they are quite likeable and very sweet. as well, and even the other adult actors are really great. They're all fantastic, really. It's just at the end it felt rushed, and they don't really. It could have been longer, as well. It's quite predictable as well, and it just feels a bit pretentious, and it just leaves you with more and more questions. And they don't really focus on the fairies themselves too much, which I'm kind of happy about, but it would have made sense if they did. So yeah, not a great film, but it was good, and I'm glad I watched it. Fairytale: A True Story? Question mark. It's a very nice, charming, relaxing, and very interesting film to watch. It's very beautiful. I think it's one of the most gorgeous-looking icon films I've ever seen. The acting is superb. The characters are fun and likable and charming. Also, I don't like that. Also, I don't like that John Ferret guy as well. He was probably the worst part of the film. He was very unnecessary as well. Um, it's interesting of what the idea of the film is. The score is fantastic as well. There's some great emotional scenes and great themes, a good message as well. It's a very well put together film, but the thing that just holds it back is that plot's too predictable. The ending feels kind of rushed, and it could have been a little bit longer to give it that extra punch, in a way. The John Ferret photographer guy is unneeded in a way, and also I don't know if it's my headphones or my Xbox or my telly, but there were a few times when the characters were talking, it went a bit quiet, and that's not why. And that's actually not really why I'm talking this quiet. It's because it is quite late, and I watched this at about, I think, like 9:30. But there were a few times where the characters, the whole scene was quiet, and you can hear them speaking, but you can't work out what they're saying because it is a bit too quiet. I get it's supposed to be like a quiet, emotional moment, or a very nice, just taking the atmosphere, taking what they're saying moment, but you can't really understand what they're saying. It's hard to make out. But yeah, I think this film was good, and despite all the criticisms and just kind of how wasted potential it has, it could have been better. I'll give it a 6.8 out of 10, so it is good. It just could have been a lot greater. It's probably one of the more mature family films from adult icon. It's not quite as wonderfully realised as The Miracle Maker, which coincidentally has Bob Peck in his last film role in that as well. Oh, and also, by the way, the guy who plays Roy Porter is in this film, which has Bill Nighy, and they were both in Hot Fuzz, so there you go. So yeah, if you have seen Fairytale: A True Story, what do you think about it? Is it good, bad, decent? Do you want to see it? Let me know below, and as always, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe. And until next time, bye for now.